Hello and welcome to another episode of PodcastDX, the show that brings you interviews with people just like you, whose lives were forever changed by a medical diagnosis. I'm Lita.
I'm Ron.
And I'm Jean Marie.
Collectively, we're the hosts of PodcastDX. And our guest today is Myisha Malone King. Myisha has been nominated for Best in Show, for Facebook and Instagram, Best Kept Secret, Best Team Performance, Hilarious Patient Leader, Lifetime Achievement Award, and Patient Leader Award for the WEGO Health Awards. Myisha is also a Galley Health Ambassador, fundraiser for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. She's a patient advocate, a writer, a mother of 4 on top of all of that. Amazing, amazing. Hi, Myisha.
Hello, Myisha.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to be here.
We're thrilled to have you.
Yes, we are, Myisha, and thank you for taking the time to join us today.
I'm just grateful that you took the time to actually have me on your show. I've been following you guys for forever.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right.
I knew there was somebody out there.
Thank you.
Well, again, thank you for taking the time out to join us today. Can you start us out by telling our listeners what exactly is Crohn's disease?
Yes, Crohn's disease is a chronic inflammatory bowel disease. It's one half of inflammatory bowel disease.
Okay.
It affects anywhere in your gastrointestinal tract, from your mouth to your rectum, your eyes. You can get ulcers in your mouth. It affects everywhere. And the other half is ulcerative colitis.
Okay. That explains it very well.
Yeah, you really summed it up. And when were you first diagnosed with Crohn's?
I was diagnosed in 2009
Okay.
in labor and delivery,
Oh,
imaging
wow.
to death, about to lose my life, having my now 11-year-old son.
Oh.
I was on the table, rushed to the hospital. He was supposed to be born June the 1st, and he came May the 12th of 2009.
Okay.
I had got up to go to the bathroom, and the blood gushed to the floor. I ran and told my mother-in-law, I'm like, I think my water just broke, because my water never broke, so I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So she got up. She went in the bathroom. She was like, that's not water, that's blood. And every time I stood up, it just gushed out.
Oh, wow.
So we rushed to the hospital. But because I wasn't stressed and my blood pressure wasn't dropping at the time, they really didn't see no cause or no harm. So, the monitors and everything on me, they monitored my son. But because I was bleeding so bad, they wouldn't let me get up to go to the bathroom.
Sure.
So when I told them that I had to go, I got up, I went to the bathroom. Blood was all over the bathroom floor. My blood pressure started dropping. They were like, now you can't get back up. We have to check on the baby. They monitored my son with an electrode that they put on his head through the birth canal.
Right,
and they said that he wasn't stressed.
Oh, okay.
So they measured me, and they were like, your cervix is thin like paper. We don't know what's going on. You're losing too much blood. So fast forward like 45 minutes later, it was time for me to push. I had my son. After I had him, he was healthy, 6 pounds, 14 ounces, healthy. And then I kept bleeding. Like, they couldn't figure out what the cause of the bleeding was, why I was bleeding. They rushed me, and they gave me 3.5 liters of a blood transfusion. My blood pressure kept dropping.
Sure.
I kept going in and out. My husband was trying to keep me awake and talk positively to me. They're like, look at your baby. But I didn't have any energy whatsoever to pay attention to anything that was going on.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that we managed to get the bleeding under control. So the very next day, they did blood work, which was the next day, which was the 13th of May.
Okay.
They did blood work. They sent me for MRIs, CAT scans, and it came back that 3.5 inches of my colon was like corroded. It was like turning black. So they had to do emergency surgery on me to remove the part of my colon that was infected. So after that time, they were like, if you try to ever have kids again, it's going to kill you. You can't put that friction on your body. But I wasn't given a diagnosis at that time.
Okay.
I didn't find out until years later that I actually had IBD.
Okay.
Wow.
But, I mean...
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're floored.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. Labor and delivery on its own is challenging. And then, oh, wow.
Well, I'm glad everything
Yes.
turned out.
Yes.
Because that sounds like the scariest.
For everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, you, your husband. Oh my gosh.
It was a journey.
Oh yeah.
No
I
bad.
bet.
Well, did you have any symptoms associated with Crohn's before? Like, did you notice anything before that? Or
Actually, no.
okay.
I had a healthy pregnancy. I didn't have any symptoms, none of the normal symptoms. Now, my symptoms didn't start until after I had the surgery, after I had my son. I'll say about a year into me having my son, I noticed that my weight was dropping significantly. Like, it was coming off significantly. I think I had lost like 55 pounds in the course of a month.
Oh my.
My appetite was going. But nobody really could figure out what was wrong. They knew I had surgery. So by this time, the frequent bowel movements had started happening. I was noticing blood, and I was telling my mother-in-law and my husband, I was like, I have blood in my bowel movement, and I don't think that's normal.
No.
Right.
Like, it was like, we have a black toilet, and you can literally see the blood in the black toilet. Like, it was, that's how much.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
One morning, it was like 6 a.m. I got rushed to the emergency room, severe pain, nausea, vomiting. They kept me in the hospital for 3.5 weeks, and they recommended that I see a gastroenterologist.
Okay.
I didn't have any insurance, so I was kind of scared about the medical bill, but the gastroenterologist surprisingly did not charge me to see me at all.
Oh, good.
Well, that was
He
nice.
was like he wanted to get me fixed. He was like, I want to get you home to your kids, to your family. He was like, but we have to figure out what is wrong with you.
Yeah.
I was originally diagnosed with ulcerative colitis.
Okay.
It wasn't until August of 2016 that I got a Crohn's diagnosis.
Oh, wow. So that's like 7 years, right?
Yes. And within this time, I done had my gallbladder removed. I done had my spleen removed from
I think it was the nerve.
inflammation. It's like I done been in and out the hospital. I had to stop working because I'm a registered nurse by trade. I had to quit work. It was a whirlwind. I had to apply for disability. They denied me 5 times, 5 times. It took 5 years of that 7 years trying to get a diagnosis, fighting Social Security because they didn't consider me disabled enough.
Right, because you didn't have the
So when
diagnosis.
I went in front of when I went in front of the Social Security law judge, they looked at me and was like, why are you in here? Your medical records speak for itself.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, but when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anything about IBD, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis.
Right.
The doctor basically told me I had this disease, sent me over there to go on about my business.
Oh.
And everything that I learned about IBD, I learned from another fellow advocate named Sarah Ringer. Journaling IBD, about IBD, everything crazy pro-mommy, everything that I know about inflammatory bowel disease, I learned from some amazing other advocates that's out there in the field that inspired me to want to advocate because there's so many doctors that make you feel alone and send you out there on your own and you don't know what you're dealing with. I was pretty much told that I had a disease that don't have no cure and I'm going to be taking medication for the rest of my life. I was a whirlwind. I didn't tell my kids right away because I didn't know how it would affect them. They was already seeing mommy in and out the hospital. I was in the hospital on my daughter's birthday. It took a toll on me. I had no quality of life. I couldn't do anything. I was just in pain in bed or in the hospital. I wasn't able to interact with my kids. I wasn't able to cook or be a mom or just do the simple things that mothers do, a wife do. I couldn't do none of that because everything that I knew and everything that revolved around me was just pain. I'm in pain and I just can't do it.
Right.
Oh my gosh, what a life.
Yeah,
That's
that was
horrific.
But I mean, thank goodness you are someone that, when you have that mentality where you're like, I'm going to get information and I'm going to go to the people that know it best, the people who have Crohn's disease and live with it, and that's where the answers are. So yeah, thank goodness you were able to find those resources and those people and those advocates out there. And you're doing an amazing job as an advocate yourself.
Thank you. It's just that I knew what it was like to feel alone after my diagnosis, and I didn't want nobody else to have to feel that loneliness, that emptiness that you feel in the pit of your stomach, that you don't got nobody or that you don't have nobody in your corner.
Right.
It's already bad enough that you lose family and you lose friends because they don't understand what you're dealing
Right,
with.
right.
But just to lose a sense of yourself and who you are as a being hurts more.
Right.
Because you have to rediscover who you are as a person around your illness.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, and I know, our work often defines who we are and everything, and when you don't have that too, it can be you mourn for that loss.
Right. So, Myisha, I have a question with the Crohn's. How has that affected your raising your children and I guess engaging in recreational activities? How has it affected your quality of life?
Because for 7 years, I couldn't be a mom. I couldn't interact like I wanted to. I couldn't go to after-school activities, Girl Scouts, help with homework. I couldn't do none of that stuff. But I had came to a point where I was like, I didn't care how much pain I was in. I didn't care what was going on. I was going to get up and push through it. I was going to be there for my kids. I was going to be active. I was going to just do. And so I adapted this mentality that if it ain't going to matter in 5 years, I'm not going to spend 5 minutes of time on it. I'm just going to get up and go and do it and just be present. Okay. Because at the end of the day, I had to come to a point of acceptance. And it took me a long time to accept the fact that I had a chronic illness. I had to accept the fact that I had it first. Okay. And stop grieving for who I thought I was.
Right.
That's a great attitude.
And bring life back to who I was now.
Right.
Okay.
I had to bring life back into myself. I had to speak life back into me because I would have withered away in the bed. I would have just withered away. I had to pep talk myself.
Sure.
Well, and have any treatments or anything, has anything helped since you've gotten your diagnosis?
Well, I'm currently in clinical remission. Okay. I've been in clinical remission for 3 months. Oh. It took 11 and a half years to get here. A lot of medication, a lot of failed therapies, as far as biologic, a lot of failed medications. I'm currently on azathioprine, 100 milligrams, Cymvia every 2 weeks, 400 milligrams pre-filled syringe. I take a vitamin D because without it, I'll be in the hospital. I take potassium because without it, I'll be in the hospital. I take Endocort, which is a form of a steroid. It works directly in your gut. It's not as harsh or have as harsh side effects as prednisone.
Okay.
I'm on an iron pill, a migraine pill because I get chronic migraines from being on the steroid.
Okay. And how about any lifestyle changes? Does diet or anything like that come into play or not really?
I stay away from all my trigger foods. I don't even go near my trigger foods. It took me forever to even figure out what my trigger food was.
Okay.
I keep a documentation, but I cook twice. I cook for my family. Well, 3 times. I cook for my family. I cook for myself, and then I cook for my husband because he has high blood pressure. So I cook different for him. Okay. I cook different for myself, and then I cook different for the kids.
Okay.
So I'm always adjusting to accommodate us all.
Okay.
That's something for sure.
A lot of effort that you're putting in.
Is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So
and I cook every single day.
Wow. I don't even know what to say.
I was gonna say I can see in the future, there's different diet plans that you can order online. I can see, the Myisha's
cookbook
out there definitely. And
I need to start a cookbook.
I love it. Let us know. We'll buy a copy for sure.
Well, after reading a few of your online posts and obviously after talking with you just a little bit now this morning, can't help but notice how incredibly positive you are. Your attitude is phenomenal. How has your positive outlook helped you?
Well, my positive outlook pretty much is, I just adapted this mentality that, I have it, I have to deal with it, I have to accept it, I can't do nothing to change my outcome. Only thing I can do is change the way that I view it. and change the way that I feel about it. I had to first accept it and
Okay.
stop grieving that I had a chronic illness. And then I had to accept the fact that I couldn't do anything about it. And then I had to speak life back into myself. I had to pep talk myself and let myself know, yes, you do have this chronic illness, but at the same time, you're still Myisha. You're still a mom. You're still a wife. You're still a sister. You're still somebody's aunt. You're still a person outside of your chronic illness.
Sure.
And you're still an inspiration.
For sure.
Because, we're blown away.
A little earlier, you were talking about some of the symptoms. Have you noticed anything that makes your symptoms any better or any worse at times?
Heat therapy. Heat therapy
Okay.
does wonders.
Okay.
Okay. So like a heat
therapy.
Do you use a heating pad or moist heat or?
I use the heating pad.
Okay. That's good advice. And what would you say has been your biggest, I can't even believe I'm asking you this question, your biggest health-related challenge, and how have you overcome that challenge?
My biggest health-related challenge was learning to accept my body image.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And the fact that it goes up and down. Like, I still suffer with that terribly. But just knowing that I have my husband and my kids in my corner to help me and to push me forward and to let me know that I'm beautiful no matter what size I am gives me motivation.
Oh,
That's great.
That's great. And I was going to ask you what role your friends and family have played, but I'm glad that they're there to support you. What role have your friends played though?
Well, my friends have always been supportive. They were willing to walk in walks with me, help me fundraise, donate towards my fundraise or my cause. They're learning and willing to learn different information about what's going on in a condition that I have. They went and educated themselves.
That's
amazing.
Yeah,
those are good friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, keep those friends. Those are the best ones.
Wow.
Myisha, over the years, what is the best advice that you've heard or that you've received from either a doctor or one of the advocates? And what advice would you want to give to somebody that's struggling with Crohn's?
The best advice that I ever received, it's going to sound weird, but everybody poops and have a bad day.
Yep.
But it's how you look at that bad day and how you determine that bad day determines the outcome of that bad day, because there's always something good and something bad.
That's right.
Okay.
Good advice, right?
Yet again shows how positive you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The advice I would give would be always get a second opinion.
Okay.
Never always get a second opinion, and if you got to, a third and a fourth.
Okay.
Because just because they tell you that you have something, make sure that you're well educated and make sure that you always get another opinion. That way you can know I call it check, recheck, and check again.
Right.
Okay.
That way you know what's going on, you know your situation, take notes, and if you can't take notes, take pictures, because pictures don't lie.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very good advice.
So, I know you just talked about it a little bit, but more specifically, what would you say to someone who is just recently diagnosed with Crohn's? And looking back, what do you wish you were told when you were first diagnosed?
I would say, that you're not alone. I want you to know that I'm here for you. And no matter the time, day or night, I'm only a message, phone call, talk, text, PM away. And that I'm here to help you in any way that you need. If it's a shoulder to cry on, a joke that you want to laugh at, or somebody just to watch a movie with to help you when you're in pain, I'm here.
That's wonderful. That is
I
wonderful.
just want to let you know that I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, that's super.
I'm here and I'm present.
Right. And what inspired you to start your online presence? And is your website called Game of Crohn's and Chronic Illness?
Yes. It's Game of Crohn's and Chronic Illness.com.
Okay.
What inspired me
Yeah.
to actually start advocating is a fellow advocate named Sarah Ringer. I was so inspired by what she did and how she was out there in the community and what she stood for, and the fact that she was spreading accurate information in the IBD community. And I wanted to aspire to be just like her. I wanted to inspire people, and I wanted to be present. I wanted to make my voice heard. I wanted to be heard, and I was tired of being silenced for too long. I wanted my voice to be heard, and I wanted to advocate for myself as well as others.
Okay, yeah, and I think you're doing an amazing job of that,
For
and
sure.
with a comedic slant as well, which is kind of nice, because it sounds like you know, with all that hardship and pain and everything, you need a little bit of humor as well. So thank you.
You got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yes.
Oh, yes. How can our listeners learn more about you? Are you on social media also?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook group at Game of Crohn's and Chronic Illness, or you can just Facebook and friend me under Myisha King.
Okay.
Or you can find me on Instagram at Game of Crohn's and Chronic Illness. I'm always around and able to be reached.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
It's great to have somebody like you in their corner in a time when, especially somebody that's recently diagnosed, who doesn't know where to turn, doesn't have any answers, and only gets maybe 5 minutes in front of the doctor to talk about all of these new problems that they're going to be dealing with and how to get over them. And with your positive energy, I think a lot of people are going to benefit from your advocacy.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
like,
need more positive people.
really
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. And you are also
Thank you
just
very much.
you do so much. I know we were reading about like the day in the life, and I was like, oh my gosh. She's like somebody in the army. She gets more done.
You get more done before the sun comes up than most of us do all day.
Yeah.
I really do. My husband be like, baby, you got to sit down. You got to take a break.
Well, thank you so much, Myisha, for taking the time out to share your story with us today. It was very, very, very powerful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad to be a part of what you guys are doing. I think you guys are amazing.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
And we look forward to your cookbook and your tell-all, your autobiography. I mean, it's just, you've been through so much. Thank you.
Yes, I have. Now I just got to stay focused to finish writing my novel.
There you
Yes,
go. There you
yes.
go.
If our listeners have any questions or comments related to today's show, they can contact us at podcastdx@yahoo.com, through our website, PodcastDX, on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or Instagram.
And if you have a moment to spare, please leave us a review wherever you get your podcast. As always, please keep in mind that this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health care provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment before undertaking a new health care regime. And never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard in this podcast.
Till next week.